Hey guys, day 18 of 366. My name is Alan Thomas, and I have Rethink Dieting, where I help those that are overweight overcome those pounds that hold them back from living the life they're destined to live. And that sounds like you know, kind of a hypey kind of tagline, but it's really true. When in 2017, when I reached 304 pounds, I was 55 years old, and standing there on the scale, seeing 300 plus pounds, to be exact, 304 pounds, I knew that there was so much more living that I had to do. But I also knew that if I didn't conquer the weight, the 100 plus pounds that I needed to lose, that I'd never get to do that living. And really, fast forward in my story, if you don't already know it, uh, publicly committed to losing 129 pounds and in 265 days, and I actually hit the magic number on 260th day. So, after doing weight loss plan after weight loss plan after weight loss plan, and just failing so many times, and it really felt like I just didn't even believe that I could lose the weight anymore. But it is possible. And it's interesting, with the clients that I have, and the individuals that I work with personally, and that my wife and I work with, the idea that weight could actually cost me my life is really something that's kind of new for most people. Most people really don't want to admit that, but it's really true. I mean, 300,000 people every year, and as the numbers going up, die of obesity-related illnesses. And I don't talk a lot about the stats, but I mean, you can look all this stuff up. You don't need me to. The only statistic that really should matter to you is the one that's sitting between your elbows. And when I realized, what it could cost me, my time on earth with my wife, my kids, and it sounds so far away to say, gosh, this weight could kill me, but really, it's what a shame. I mean, a lot of people who listen to me are Christians, and I don't, whether you are or aren't, I mean, this kind of stuff applies, but when you look at, like, in the scripture where Esau sold his birthright for a bowl of stew, I mean, that's pretty impactful. I mean, and I won't go into a long tirade about that, but how many times was I selling my birthright for a bowl of stew? Today I did, one of my clients, Matt McWilliams, he and I did a training that was interesting. He revealed something that was amazing to me. I mean, he's lost, what has he lost? Right at 60 pounds of, on the scale it says 60 pounds, but he's actually lost over 80 pounds of fat, because he's converted a lot of that to muscle. Actually, 50 pounds of weight, but 80 pounds of fat, so it nets, uh, 30 pounds of muscle he picked up, because he's gotten in phenomenal shape, dropped from a 42 waist to like a 33. And all that be said, not to brag and boast about Matt, but he was getting some life insurance work done, and getting new insurance policies for his family. And he told this, and I didn't know, since he and I met, and we started working together, his life expectancy went up 15 years based on the insurance tables, which I was like blown away. And so, because I think at the end of the day, we all have this purpose that we want to live out on earth. I mean, you may say that you want to, all you want to do is sit around and rest in your retirement and all that, but there's always more. There's grandkids, there's relationships, there's travel, there's all these things, but it ultimately ends up in a lot of connections that we have. And wouldn't it be a shame to die and really to not live out that purpose, whatever it is? And it's different for every person, and I'm always fascinated. I talk to a lot of people. Everybody I talk to needs to lose weight, and when I get on the phone with them, it's always interesting. I don't ask a lot of questions about how many carbs did you have, and how much protein and all that. But I want to know what's in their heart, because, you know, all that stuff, all that data is important. But at the end of the day, it's never going to get you what you want. It's never going to get you to your ideal weight. You know, because it takes the perseverance, and what really will drive it is something that goes way deeper. And that was what it was for me. I mean, I knew there was more to do. I had no idea I'd be doing this. It was never my intention to be the weight loss guy. And so, but it's happened. And when I see people getting their life back, that's what I get excited about. And I tell my clients, you know, there's a vein of gold running in you. And every person that I speak to, I really believe this. We have a vein of gold in us that will not be revealed until we do something about those simple things like weight. You know, it's fun to see it revealed, and when you know, the individuals I work with just get their mojo back, and you know, whether they're 35 or they're 70 or whatever the age, it doesn't matter. You know, if whatever your age you're at, you want to do more the next year. And you know, I was looking back over my journey, and I did a lot of blog posts and all, and you can you know, check that out online. But I was looking at it, like day 12. It was a book I wrote that day. I was like, good grief, I wrote a lot. But you know, we make such a big deal out of picking, you know, what eating plan to be on. And you know, and I wrote in that post that it's a lot like, you know, when Moses was standing by the burning bush talking to God. He was standing on holy ground, and you know, in Exodus, and you know that whole, you know, historical account in the Old Testament. But Moses, you know, was given all these excuses of why he couldn't do what God was asking him to do, what God was calling him to do. He had you know, I'm a murderer. They've been looking for me. I've been gone for 40 years, and I think it's 40 years. And you know, I grew up with the Pharaoh's house, and they're gonna slaughter me. You can't just go in and talk to them about that, and all these different excuses. And he said, I don't talk really well, and all these things. And all God said was, what's in your hand? And what was in his hand was a staff. And you can look this up, and I'm not quoting word for word, but what was in his hand was a staff. And God said, throw that stick on the ground. And threw it on the ground, turned into a snake. And of course, Moses went and ran from it. He was afraid. So God said, go pick that thing up. So he grabbed it by the tail and it became a staff again. And so fast forward how many ever weeks or months it was that the Israelites were standing at the banks of the Red Sea, and they were trapped, 600,000 men plus women and children, livestock, and all their belongings, and they were trapped. They were trapped by the sea in front of them. I believe the Hebron Mountain Range was another trap point. You have to look up at the geography there. I'm not an expert on that. I'm not a Bible scholar, that's for sure. But then they had the biggest army on the face of the earth coming at them, ready to slaughter them. And it was interesting. You know, two things interesting to me. You know, God told them in the New Living Translation. He told Moses to tell his people to stop praying. It was pretty interesting. We always pray. I'm praying for a diet, or I'm doing this, and all. And God says, tell your people to stop crying out to me, and get up and move forward, and raise that stick that was in your hand over the water, not part it. And it's interesting that God used that staff that was in Moses' hand back at the very beginning in the burning bush to be the instrument he had Moses part the Red Sea with. God parted the Red Sea. He didn't do it. Moses didn't do it, but he used that. And I think it's evident for us. We think we don't have the tools to do what's necessary when you've got them right in front of you. You do. But there's so many more pieces of that puzzle. And so, you know, my heart goes out to people who think, you know, hey, I can't stick to anything. I can't. And it's just, it's not true. You can. I was the worst of the worst. I mean, and, you know, decades of shame and embarrassment around my weight, feeling like that I couldn't accomplish. getting my weight down. Was successful in other areas, but the weight held me back in ways that I had no idea, and I knew it was holding me back, but it was holding me back in others I didn't even know about. And the weight came off in 260 days, and it wasn't a magical diet. It was actually a diet that I failed on about 8 times because I kept trying to do it. And so I say all this to you, all my rambling. Don't wait until it's too late. And pay the ultimate cost of getting your weight off. Do something about it now. You can do it. And if you need help, if you need a mentor, that's what I do. But if you want to have an honest conversation and get a mapped out plan of how to get to your ideal weight, book a free breakthrough session with me. Go to transformmyfuture.com/apply. And when you come to that page, you'll see my calendar. You'll be able to pick a time that works for you if there are any available. And then after that, fill out a short little questionnaire. It's really short. It's like 7 or 8 questions, just so I have an idea of who you are and so I can be prepared, with a really good plan for you. But do that because but be encouraged. Don't give up. There's a way out of the wilderness of obesity. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a physical fitness expert. I'm just some guy who found his way out of the wilderness of obesity, and I know the way out. And it isn't that complicated, but it's also it's not that easy. But at the same time, it is possible, and it's worth it. So, guys, have a great night, and we will see you tomorrow for day number 19.